It is an honor and a pleasure to have Ernest Hancock come from Phoenix, Arizona. I met him in Atlanta in 2004, and had the pleasure of being with him at a couple of the other national conventions. He is a publisher of freedomsphoenix.com, and I imagine that there's not one politician in the state of Arizona that does not know what Ernie Hancock stands for and what he believes. And he can be an example to all of us from an activism standpoint in our communities. Mr. Hancock, you've got the floor.
Absolutely. Here, let's get a good shot of this sign. So I'm gonna use this area, so I don't want to be disrespectful, even though it goes to national. Okay. I'm going to do something that I have never done before. I'm going to give you a history. And this is for Matt, okay? I have met so many people like you. I need to make sure that you know exactly what you're getting into and that you come out of this smiling, and don't have to go through the garbage that Angela and Lee have. Because I told them the same thing years ago, too. They just didn't listen. Here's my business card for my website. So you guys can have that. And I have some other stuff there we'll go over here in a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and give you a timeline of how I came to where I am now. And it gives so many examples of how you deal with people at different levels in their awareness and what motivates them and the kind of person that might be able to give the movement what it needs. I was born... well, let's do that. 1961. Okay, so I'm a senior citizen of the X generation. Now what I'm going to do is start here, and we'll go to now, 2009. That's the first time I've done this, but I think this will be useful. In 1979, I graduated high school. What was going on in 1979? You remember? Interest rates were 20-something%. Carter, was there. We didn't go to the Moscow Olympics. We had the Dream Team, the original one, Miracle, the hockey team. Go get them Ruskies. Rocky IV. You see my point?
Rocky II.
Well, 2, but 4 came later. We were still in this Cold War mentality. Is my point. But the thing is that what happened is that in '79 they had just reinstituted selective service. Remember? I'm in high school and it's like, you got to sign up for the man. Get damn Skippy, we need you on a list. Oh, we're not going to call you now. We don't have the draft. We just need a list. Well, where's that going to go? So who are we fighting? Who's we at war with here? It was Iran. Remember, same thing. My kids, I have 4 children, 19 to 23. Okay, 2 boys, 2 girls. They're going, yeah, Dad, well, you don't understand. They're not going, the heck I don't. Let's go look at some of the headlines from when I graduated high school. Iran, oil, sand, hostages, war, war, war. What was one of my favorite songs I use in my radio show? We'll get to that later. But in my radio show, there's a rejoinder that I put in there. It's from Queen, Hammerfall. We grew up in the shadow of the mushroom cloud. You guys remember that song? Our communication was music. It was during the Vietnam War. It was during... Sometimes we'll do shows on anti-war, and the whole thing is a bunch of 1960s and 70s anti-war songs. It's just beautiful songs that expressed an emotion that was no other way it could be released except on ditto machines on campuses. Remember? So now we're looking at 1979, and you have Watergate back here. Here we have, Kennedy gets killed, his brother, Martin Luther. You have Watergate in here, This is going on, Watergate. You have the economy's going to crap. You have, just all this stuff. Here during Watergate, there were a lot of laws that were changed in the states during this time here. And there was a reason. We'll get to that later. But you need to remember, Watergate was a watershed event. And the reason is because here's the Vietnam War, okay? During Vietnam, people started to understand, I think my government's lying to me. Just, you think? not quite the same. And what am I? Every evening when my family would get together to have dinner, the TV would be on. You got the evening news. We're all sitting there watching the same footage of somebody shooting an M16 going like this or something like that. Or, you know, it's just, even as a kid, you know, I'm 6, 7, 8 years old going, haven't they seen that footage before? Then you fast forward up here in the 90s when you had the first Gulf War, it's the same bomb going down the same chimney. Boom, boom, boom. I go, I've been through this. Okay? So the thing is that this is the prep. This is the circumstances that my generation was in. You were born when? Over in here somewhere. Okay? So I always consider myself kind of young. You know, it's kind of hard when you start getting towards 50. But the point is that, you know, we grew up in the same lies, deceit, and bullshit that you are right now. But we didn't have the ability to express ourselves. So then here we go, except in music and stuff like that. I go to Arizona State University for a little bit. I travel around the country. I meet my wife. I get married in 84. August 11th. There is, so I go. Oh, heck yeah. So then I get married then. I have, like, here's 1990 here. 1990. I get married. I have 4 children. 1988 presidential election cycle. What's happening? Daddy Bush is running against Dukakis. Well, there's 2 winners for you, okay? So I'm starting to pay attention. I'm watching the news. What's the big deal, okay? The first thing I noticed as a young man with 4 children, this is what happens. You go on, you guys are used to satellite cable. The only cable we had or satellite was HBO. It was ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, and HBO, and that was it. Okay? So if Dan Rather, Tom Brokaw, or Jennings didn't say it, it didn't happen. But the thing was, it was always the same 5 stories. You could go with your remote and go click, 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 and I've even done it. You take there and you just go really fast and have them between them and see what they're saying. It's the same thing, usually in the same order. For 250 million people then, you go, we have 5 issues, that's it? That's a national debate, 5 issues for all these? I think I'm being bullshitted some more, okay? So I'm going, all right. 1988 election cycle. You guys remember what the number 1 issue was? The issue? Flag burning amendment. Bush would do big giant things in big tents made of American flags. Then I was going, isn't there like some kind of rule against that or something? You know, wearing it, making, sewing it, putting them together. I mean, I thought conservatives all freaking out about that or something. It's okay unless Bush does it. So then I'm going, okay, flag burning issue. You know, and then you got Dukakis riding around the tank with that funny hat on, you know. So, you know, and the only thing I distinctly remember about that election cycle in '88 were 2 things. Well, a few things. One, flag burning amendment. Oh, that's the issue of the day, man. That's going to save America. All right? The other thing was, in the debates, Dukakis, man, he had a nice suit. I mean, that's the only thing I remember. Man, that was a nice suit. That was nice and shiny. Man, is that all I'm supposed to remember? Isn't there something more important than that?
Willie Horton.
So, yeah, Willie Horton was somebody he paroled and killed somebody. So it's crime. This is when we had the crime thing. We got to protect the streets. We need more government for crime. Well, they got it. So, anyway. So during that time, I'm starting to pay attention. Then you start having congressmen out on Capitol lawn taking sledgehammers. Everybody's getting a turn, banging what? What were they pounding on? Toyotas. Them Japanese, they're taking over. It's all this stuff against imports. It's against, the Japanese are dumping silicon chips on us. They're driving the prices down. Trade war, back and forth, and so on. You can see a pattern starting to develop. Okay? 1988, I did my first political statement right here with Crayola crayons.